Welcome, guys. We've had a quite brilliant British Grand Prix at Silverstone. We got action at the beginning, middle, and we got one of the most awful endings to what was a spectacular Grand Prix. Let's get to it. Oh, what a race. I mean, if you're a Ferrari man, and I've jumped straight into the Ferrari grid to celebrate on this reaction video because it was and should have been a Ferrari 1-2. It is a Ferrari 1-3. Just as I was about to start this podcast, I had to scribble a few things out. Lewis Hamilton retains his P3. He was under investigation for a yellow flag infringement. Lewis actually in an interview after he'd seen the interview, steward, he came to the interview pen and he was like, I'm going to get a pen. I didn't see the yellow. I didn't lift. And, well, I'm going to get a penalty. And so I absolutely felt a kick in the stomach. But 10 minutes after, I went through it on the screen. And actually, the yellow flag, if it was given any penalty for that, would have been so harsh. By the timing of it was just, I think that's probably what saved Lewis getting a penalty because he clearly he didn't lift. The car was stricken on the right-hand side, which you couldn't see. There was no yellow flag at that time. He'd gone past it. A yellow flag came up on his dash, and then he had a green flag right in front of him. There was no on-track yellow flag anywhere, just one on the dash. But I think that's what saved him, just the timing of when he came across that stricken car. I think instantly Max lifted, but again, only when he's seen the green flag. So I don't know if that's just to show I've had some sort of lift and probably put Lewis into a bit of trouble. Max is ever great at doing that. So that brings up some positives. Charles Leclerc takes the win, but we're going to get the rant out the way early so we can just end this reaction video on a high. And we'll talk FIA because really the safety car won that race. Why did it go around again on track? And we've got one of the worst excuses. Even Martin was saying that they need to come up with a real reason why we didn't finish for that one lap. There was no proper reason, and that's the crux of it. It was another mistake from the FIA, software glitch, they've called it, of why they said there was, and we got all that excitement. If you watch me on the watch along, like jumping for joy, we're going to get that one racing lap. We heard that in Abu Dhabi 21. We got the safety car ending. The slow cars, lapped cars had gone past every one of them, unlike Abu Dhabi 21. And they were, country mile ahead of the lead car, who was Charles Leclerc. And so they would not have interfered in any part of that race towards the end of the Grand Prix. But then they rolled out the rule that actually once the lapped cars overtake, there must be one final lap. And actually interestingly enough, before the lapped car started their lap, that was the call. So technically they were still right in letting them have that one racing lap, because when Oscar got the call, he was still not crossed the finish line for start that lap. And so technically they had done that lap. So when that was called of lap cars to overtake. So in all instances, fine margins, but you'd made the call. The track was clear. There was no issues. Every lap car had overtaken, unlike Abu Dhabi 21, which was, everybody will refer to that. And then they've just played it really safe and just sat on a shit rule. There's no two ways about that. Apologies for the language. I'm still really annoyed about it, as you can tell. No excuse. Anthony Davidson saying the rules are the rules. I think Jenson Button gave me one of the worst. I kind of like Jenson generally, but one of the worst answers, and said, yeah, it's so annoying, let's not talk about it after the race. Let's talk about the race. I mean, how much up the FIA's arse do you want to get, Jenson, with that response? Let's talk about it and move on. And that's the way we're going to do it on this podcast, because I think that's the way it should be. Address the elephant in the room. It stunk. There's no two ways about it. It was an awful call. We got robbed. George Russell got lucky. You can thank his lucky stars for that one, because he was a sitting duck. Everybody had Soft tyres, apart from George Russell, they would have warmed up faster than George's harder compound medium. And so I think he was going to lose ground to definitely Hamilton and probably Norris as well, and maybe a few others on that final run. So George can be, give the FIA a pat on the back. Toto didn't want to go into it, understandably so. His driver this time, it works in his favour. So why wouldn't he apparently open old wounds? Talking about, referencing 21, you just got to look at the rules and the way it played out this Grand Prix. Forget what's happened before. This was an absolute stinker. And so, yeah, really, really disappointing from the FIA. Another rant is this whole investigation after the race nonsense. Just get on with it. Just make the decision. You've got the data there in front of you. I can understand you want to do that when there's an awful lot of incidents to go through, so much data to troll through, and there's some unique circumstances. You've quite not got an angle on a video or some sort of data. Then make that decision. Don't play it safe like you have done. The whole Lewis incident, you sat there, he's taken the podium. You've still got this yellow flag incident, which happened way before. You had the whole safety car period where cars were going slow. You had time, make a decision, because technically, if he was going to get a penalty, you've just cost Lando Norris a chance to stand on the podium at his home Grand Prix. And like I said, after, Pierre Gasly as well suffered from it in Monaco. His home Grand Prix, as close as it gets for Gasly as well. This is Lando's home Grand Prix. You've got a chance to be on a podium there and celebrate with the fans, and you're taking that away. So I think that was another big L for the FIA to take on that one. No reason for the delay. If there is a delay, understand it. As it turns out, there's no penalty on that one. So they've kind of got away with that a little bit. But I think that's about as bad as it gets. The FIA had an absolute shocker. Race director had a shocker. There's no two ways about it, and they need to fix that up. They either need to get in, like we've seen others call, and I agree with this, proper stewards who are there, paid stewards who make these decisions day in, day out, and maybe get a team of them. And so you get a revolving system of sort of 6 on 6, whatever it is, and switch them around. So you don't get, if you see some perceived bias, you don't get that. You mix them up, but you get the same 6, and you will tend to get more consistency then, rather than having some random guys coming every weekend. And we get some horrible ones, some too slow, just picking up new rules, making decisions. And it's the consistency that we're kind of lacking here. Again, and common sense sometimes. I mean, that was a really shocking one for that safety car not to come in. You've called it in, and then absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed what was a pretty phenomenal race. Had that one lap happen, even if they all kept position, you just think fair play, we got the lap. Didn't work out the way we might have hoped it be, but yeah, real kick in the teeth on that one. Let's talk racing now, because it was a brilliant race. Charles Leclerc took the win, drove an amazing first stint, and I think that's what bagged him and kept him in the hunt for the fight. But in all intents and purposes, guaranteed him a P2 because he was brilliant. I think had Antonelli's car not failed him, Antonelli had the pace to beat him. I think Charles Leclerc has said as much. He was pretty honest in his post-race interview that when Antonelli would have gotten to the back of him, which he would have, he was a second and a half a lap faster with 10 lap fresher medium hard tyres. He was going to be a sitting duck, but he put himself in that position where he had to be, beaten on track. Did Charles Leclerc. Very, very good drive, very good first stint, and that was absolutely brilliant to see. Charles Leclerc had a brilliant qualifying session. Came out of nowhere a little bit, if you look at the early parts of the weekend for him. But he followed it up in the race, and so badly needed for him. Since he's had that contract signed in Monaco, 3 absolute stinkers, crashes galore, not finishing, just poor performances. But this was, welcome back, Charles Leclerc. He said he was much happier with the car. the feel, and Ferrari back again. This was a track they shouldn't have won. Having debates pre-race with people in comments up saying, I thought Ferrari would do well here. And maybe I was just a bit delusional at the time, because in theory, and even this performance has surprised Ferrari, it's definitely surprised Mercedes. This is a high-speed circuit, high-speed corners, and it all points to the Mercedes. Yes, Antonelli probably should have won this one, but despite that, it would have been a Mercedes and a Ferrari 1 and 2 and 3. They comfortably had the pace to beat George Russell, so there's no two ways about that. So they were right there on the pace with the Mercedes, and high-speed track where they shouldn't have done well. Upgrades came. Their battery deployment was really good. Not quite there on the level of the Mercedes just yet, but the ICE part is really more than making up for it. And a 1-2, it should have been a 1-2. A 1-3 is an absolutely brilliant result here in Silverstone. So they'll take it. There's no two ways about it. We'll take it as fans, because what it means is that we've got a real battle, Ferrari versus Mercedes, in this championship. There's 78 points behind now, the Mercedes. They're both picking up points. They're reliable. They're quick. And Ferrari coming on strong. Really, really good to see. They're going to take this fight to Mercedes now. And we potentially, if Red Bull can fix a few things, we might see Max in there. And we'll get to the heartbreak of Max and Antonelli next. But Charles can be absolutely delighted with his weekend. Lewis, I think he'd be a little bit disappointed that he just didn't finish second. The call of Ferrari, we'll get on to that. Should they have pitted him in that race right at the end when the safety car came out? When I was doing the watch along, you can go check it. I said they should have definitely pitted Charles Leclerc because he was safe. He had enough time to pit and come out safe. Lewis Hamilton, they should have only done that if they could have guaranteed they could have come out ahead of George Russell. There was only 4 laps to the end of the Grand Prix, and there was a real chance that it could have finished under the safety car. As it played out, they potentially could have made the right choice because the safety car was ending. We would have got one late racing lap, and then they would have looked like, yes, what you're talking about, F1 guy, you know nothing. But as it turns out, I was right. Not one that you want to be right on. I think the FIA really cocked that up as that's the reality of it. Ferrari, I was critical. Looking back now, I think that the emotions calmed down a little bit, and gladly that Lewis keeps his P3. I think they made the right call. I think Lewis possibly questioning it. The fact that he came behind Russell and the fact that the safety car was so close to the end. But sadly, he's come out on the wrong side of these calls. Again, he came out the wrong side in 21. It's come out for him on the wrong side in this Grand Prix as well, even though I think the two calls are very, very different from 21 to this weekend. But there we have it. I think looking back, I think Ferrari made the right call. It was just the wrong call from the FIA. The fact that they called that safety car in and then backtracked on it, put it down to a software glitch. I think the only glitch was in the race director's mind, and he tried to play it too safe. We should have got one final racing lap. There's no two ways about it. Let's get on to the heartbreak. We'll start with Kimi Antonelli and the Mercedes. We'll jump on to Max next. Two amazing results gone for Kimi Antonelli. He had a brilliant race in Barcelona, which he got back and beat his teammate George Russell. Yes, he wouldn't have got the win, but he would have made points up on George Russell. And this weekend, he's definitely a second place, and a win has definitely been cost by a fragile Mercedes. This time, not the engine. There was some sort of brake covering that's got broken off and got stuck as it was going over the rumble strips, and it shouldn't just break like that. It's quite simple. Toto has said, these failings are really costing us, the team, and giving Ferrari a sniff. And it's really costing this young man, young Italian. He didn't let it phase him after Barcelona. He's come back. He's bounced back. He had a decent enough Austrian Grand Prix. He was still the fastest man, not the result he wanted there. This weekend, though, he was phenomenal. Missed out on sprint pole, a brilliant sprint win, took pole position, not the greatest start, but the bounce back was on the stint, 35 laps on their mediums, and to just come out just 7 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, I think that just shows what a brilliant stint that was, because for all intents and purposes, the longest he went, he had a 10-lap better tyre, fresher tyre than Charles Leclerc. And to only lose and come out just 7 seconds behind shows the pace that this kid was pulling off. Absolute brilliant consistency. And that's what won him this race, for all intents and purposes. Yes, he didn't win it. Should have won it. He broke down with 3.5 seconds behind Charles Leclerc with about 10 laps to go. So, yes, we might not have known with all the safety cars that came for Max Verstappen. But I think he probably would have got the job done before that time. But it was, real kick in the teeth, a 25-point cost. He's now just got a lead of 25 points to George Russell, 32 to Lewis Hamilton. So it's getting tight in the Drivers' Championship. Charles Leclerc isn't a country mile behind. I think he's another 20-odd points behind Lewis Hamilton now. So it's getting very close, but it's the fragile Mercedes that's costing him, not his driving style. We won't let it, I'm sure it won't phase him. He'll be back in Spa. But wow, I was heartbroken. I felt a sick kick to the guts, to be honest, because even though I'm a Ferrari fan, I love Ferrari to win. But this kid deserves it. And a Ferrari 2-3 with Kimi Antonelli winning, I'd absolutely take it, because for some reason, I've just taken pure love and joy from the baby goat, and the way he's pulled it off this season so far. He's been brilliant. On the opposite end, we've got his teammate, George Russell, who said it was a dog-slow car. I mean, only in your hands, boy. That was a bit unnecessary, that call. He's quite openly critical, publicly critical. He was told off on the in-lap team radio. He was critical of the power, saying, wasn't helped by the power deficit to the guys around me, and lucky to get this P2. And Toto was quick to shut that down, saying, actually, we were quite quick. It looked like in the race we've got over that problem, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. Really public shutdown of George Russell from Toto Wolff there. The reality is he struggled. He was beaten by both Ferraris, beaten by a Red Bull of Max Verstappen, but for obviously Max breaking down. Reality is he's come home second, and he's got lucky with the safety car call. He was going to do the opposite of what Lewis did. There's no two ways about that. I'm pretty sure of that. So I can see why Ferrari did what they did. I can see exactly why Mercedes stayed out. They had to be careful and do that. So, really difficult weekend from him. Again, he's been beaten. He's got an awful lot of work to do. Came off the bounce of a win in Austria. But he wasn't getting carried away, was it, for it at all, was he? He'd already sort of downplayed his hope for Silverstone, and, well, rightly so, because when it comes to race day, he's been absolutely nowhere when it comes to that. On to Max Verstappen. What a drive. Apparently, he was looking at a race, pit lane start for Max Verstappen. Kept George Russell and Lewis Hamilton behind in the middle part of the race when he had older tyres. And he did that so well. George only just passed him. And then he dove into the pits. I think Russell then pit after that when he had the deflation of his tyre. That really helped Max Verstappen out. But he had really good race pace. Kept Lewis back for a good chunk. Lewis finally got past, and he was coming home for a P4 when after Antonelli's DNF, it was a P3. But we've seen this incident. We've seen it in Austria in qualifying, where the rear end of this Red Bull just snaps under high speed, and that's really odd that we've seen that, the way that it's happened. We've seen it twice now, and that's not usual. I don't think that's a mistake from Max Verstappen. He was furious, absolutely raging at this Red Bull team, mega pissed at this DNF So I've yet to see the full interview on it yet, but it's not good. It'd be the final nail in the coffin of him staying in Red Bull. So disappointing, because he was, for me, looking at just behind second place driver of the day for me, I'd given it to Charles Leclerc, but he was absolutely on it. He was absolutely brilliant from Max Verstappen this weekend. Such a shame, because he's such a great driver. You can never count Max Verstappen out. He's shown that time and time again, and this was another race for him where he really, really well deserved a podium position. And I felt bad for Max Verstappen. Really, really gutted. No doubt he'll bounce back. He'll keep his head up and he'll just drive every race flat out. And that's what you absolutely love about him. Whether you hate him or you don't hate him, you've got to appreciate him. And he's been phenomenal this weekend. Shout out to Lando Norris with a P4. The McLaren wasn't there in the race, but he's picked up a good result. Another one like the sprint race. Picked up a podium there, picked up a P4 here. So a solid race for him, but the biggest shout out's got to go, and a close, probably even second driver of the day for me, has got to go to Franco Colapinto. P9, he made up 10 places. He beats his teammate who started 4 places up ahead of him. P19 to P9 for Franco Colapinto. Didn't feature in that race whatsoever, so I can't actually tell you much about his race at all. But what a race, what a drive, well deserved P9 for him. I don't know if he's just took a huge advantage from the way the safety car came out for him or what strategy he played. Genuinely don't know. But he can be so happy with him to beat his teammate as well, who was done, he's waxed lyrical about Pierre Gasly early parts of this season. So to Franco to come home and do that, I think that's a really, really good result for him. Shout out to the Racing Bulls as well. I think P6 and 7 for Lindblad and Lawson both follow each other home. It's hard to say what the gap was pre safety car. I've not seen what that was. So yeah, good race for them. I think there's also a shout out to Cadillac and Aston Martin. Both cars for both teams have made it to the end of the race. We got DNFs, but it wasn't any of them four. We've got to say it was Nico Hülkenberg that stopped lap 7. Lap 16, I think. Yep. And then Alex Albon lap 6 or 6 laps to go. He was 9 laps down. No, 9 laps down. Alex Albon, Nico Hülkenberg 16 laps down, and Max Verstappen 6 laps down. So just 3 DNFs. So are we finally seeing some reliability come back for some of these bottom teams? Good to see from the Cadillacs. They brought some upgrades. Another good race from Sergio Perez. He qualified behind Valtteri Bottas, finishes a couple of places ahead of him, or just 1 place ahead of him. I think Antonelli slots in for between the 2 Cadillac boys. He finishes 16th in the end, Kimi Antonelli. To make matters worse, he got a 5-second penalty, I think, as well for track limits. He wasn't very happy with that, but we've seen that with Charles Leclerc just in Miami, wasn't it, when he was doing all the cutting corners because he had a broken car. And I kind of get the frustration, but also I get you can't just cut a car because you've got a broken car and start cutting corners and think, yeah, it's because I've got a broken car. Everybody else has got to drive to the track. And if you can't make a corner, you slow down and try and make the corner. I understand it if someone's pushed you off track and you get a track limits, that shouldn't count. But if you're doing track limits for something like this, I kind of get it. But apparently the Mercedes team are looking into talking or having some, whatever they can do, raise a protest or, question that penalty. Let's see what comes of that. But yeah, as it stands, the race result stands. Lewis Hamilton doesn't get his P3, which made me a little bit happier coming into this podcast, because had he got that, and watching his interview just pre-starting this recording, I was absolutely down in the dumps despite what was a great Grand Prix. Just so furious with the ending of it. Kicked in the teeth with Kimi Antonelli. A great win for Charles Leclerc, so massively happy with that. But Lewis Hamilton is my man, and it looked like he was off the podium and would have been down in like no points. So really happy he kept it. Ferrari win, 250th win for Ferrari, so a landmark victory for them. We've got to finish with the Ferrari talk because, well, they've made this championship really interesting. There's a long way to go. What are we, race 7 or 8 now? There's still a long way to go in this championship. 78 points and a fragile Mercedes. They've got some upgrades to bring. Ferrari are hot on the upgrade race this season. They're probably the best we've seen them. So much so that we've got teams, or at least Toto, questioning their spending on upgrades and whether they're in that. Fred sort of saying, I'm not taking that cheating talk. So you can already see the pressure creeping into Mercedes with these sort of mind games already being kicking off a little bit from Toto. I see you. Yes, they don't go, under my nose just like that, Mark. So we'll see how it ends. Oh, so we're back. Oh, just literally cut short because the camera got too hot. Or maybe I'm just fire in this podcast. The wrath has been strong. So yeah, sorry about where we were. Mind games being played by Toto Wolff and Mercedes already. They can sniff. Ferrari are back. They're going to have a fight. And there's an awful long way to go in this championship. Yes, next time out in Spa, they might be strong. Ferrari will be quick and hungry. There's no two ways about that. So there's tracks that might not suit them. This was a surprise. This wasn't meant to suit Ferrari, but they were strong here. So we could be in for a surprise in Spa as well. I think the difference here is we've got a reliable Ferrari and we've got a weak Mercedes, but a weak and fast Mercedes and now a quicker, reliable Ferrari, which will win in the end. As long as Ferrari can keep up this reliability, they'll be a tough team to beat. And, they're really, really good to watch the way that they've been racing. Charles Leclerc, final talk on him. What a great race. Really, really happy for him. He was phenomenal. His first stint was great. The management of the tyres was really good. Something that we've been praising his teammate for over Charles. And, it was Charles that pulled it together this race weekend. But yeah, there we have it. That's the hot takes. That's the reaction for the British Grand Prix. Watch out for the driver ratings video coming in a couple of days. And then we are off to Spa for watch out for the preview and the watch along for that. But there we have it. That is the British Grand Prix done. What a race. The FIA screwed it a little bit at the end, but it doesn't take a dampener of some pretty fantastic racing. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Hope you enjoyed the watch along for those who enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, see you on the next one.